Thank you, dear friend, for being here today. Have you ever looked into someone's eyes, someone you call family, and felt something was off? Not because they shouted, not because they hurt you directly, but because every time they entered the room, the air shifted. It felt heavier. Your energy dimmed. Your chest tightened not from fear, but from something far more subtle and far more dangerous. It's that quiet, invisible force, the one that drains your light while smiling in your face. And if you're a Cancer, your soul has already sensed it long before your mind dared to name it. There's a reason why you're the most intuitive of the zodiac. You weren't given this emotional depth just to feel you were chosen to know, to feel what others try to hide. And sometimes, what you feel isn't love. It's control wrapped in concern, jealousy dressed as advice, and silence filled with judgment. But today, something sacred is about to happen. We're going to speak out loud the truth you've kept locked in your chest for too long. The truth about the witch in your family who envies your sanctuary, your softness, your light. The one who quietly watches your every move, not to celebrate you, but to find ways to dim what makes you shine. But here's what they don't understand. You are not soft because you're weak. You are soft because you were born under the moon, a celestial protector that doesn't just reflect emotions, it reveals hidden truths. And the truth is, you've always known. Deep down, you've seen the signs. The whisper behind your back. The way your joy made someone else uncomfortable. The moments your intuition screamed, "This isn't love." But your heart still gave the benefit of the doubt. Cancer, this isn't just a video. This is a mirror held up to your soul. A sacred letter written just for you. Today, we're going to unravel the invisible threads that have held you back. The manipulation, the emotional traps, the guilt wrapped in family ties. Because you are a chosen one. And there's a reason why the darkness fears you. Stay with me, because what I'm about to reveal may change the way you see your entire past and open the door to a future where your intuition becomes your compass, your love becomes your power, and your light no longer needs to dim for anyone. Toward the end of this video, I'll share something sacred, a sign from the universe that has been waiting just for you. A moment, a message, a ritual only a Cancer soul can activate. And when you hear it, something deep inside you will finally remember who you are. So, sit down, get comfortable, make yourself a warm cup of tea or coffee. This isn't just a message, it's a moment between you, me, and the invisible energy that brought you here today. Because nothing, absolutely nothing, is coincidence. Now, before we begin this journey, if your heart is already trembling a little, if you've felt that strange tightness lately, the kind that comes with a truth knocking at your door, comment below right now. I knew it wasn't just in my head. Let the universe know you're ready to see what has long been hidden. And if you're brave enough to walk through this sacred doorway with me, hit like to send your light into the algorithm. Subscribe so you never miss a soul message again, and share this video with someone who also needs to know. They are not imagining it. Are you ready to uncover the truth about the witch who hides in your family and the divine fire she's always feared within you? Let's begin. She's always been there. Maybe in the kitchen, offering you a warm bowl of soup when you're sick. Maybe sitting at the corner of the family gatherings, nodding and smiling just a little too much. Or maybe she's the one who always seems concerned, always asking if you're okay, but somehow, after every conversation with her, you're not okay. You feel drained, confused, a little smaller, a little unsure of yourself. This is the woman who carries a shadow so well she's convinced everyone, even you, that it's just her way of caring. But Cancer, you felt it, didn't you? That strange shift in your body when she hugs you. That eerie silence after she compliments you with something that sounds more like a warning than praise. "You're so sensitive," she says. Don't get your hopes up too high, she whispers. I'm only telling you this because I care. But her words land like cold hands on your warm heart. They don't soothe, they shrink. She's not loud. She doesn't throw fits. She doesn't yell or blame or accuse. No, she's smarter than that. She plays the role of the peacemaker, the helper, the family backbone. But behind that well-worn mask is a quiet storm of jealousy, resentment, and control. And the worst part? She hides her darkness under the sacred title of family. That's why it hurts so much. That's why it's so hard to name it. Because how do you call out the witch when she wears the face of your blood? You've questioned yourself for years. Am I overthinking? She didn't say anything mean. Maybe I'm just too emotional. But let me tell you this, dear Cancer. That wasn't your imagination. That was your activated intuition. That was your soul saying, something is off. Something here isn't love. You've been taught to override your instincts, to doubt your inner voice, to smile through discomfort. But not anymore. Let's speak the truth now, out loud. You see, energy doesn't lie. And you've always been able to read energy like a second language. That tightness in your chest, that subtle anxiety when she enters the room, the way your thoughts become foggy when you speak around her, that's not social awkwardness. That's not anxiety. That's your spirit, reacting to emotional manipulation so smooth, so quiet, it slips under your skin before you even realize it's there. Have you noticed how your mood shifts around her? How your confidence begins to shrink? How you suddenly question your dreams, your choices, your voice? That's not random. That's the after effect of energetic sabotage. She doesn't need to raise her voice. Her presence alone is a whisper that unravels you, and she always arrives with a cloak of concern. I just don't want you to get hurt, she says. But why does it only come when you're happy, when you're growing, when you're shining? Why is her worry always louder the moment you begin to bloom? Because to her, your light is threatening. Your softness is dangerous. Your emotional truth disrupts the control she's used to holding. And the scariest part is, she doesn't even know why she resents you. She can't explain it. It's not logical. But deep down, a part of her aches every time she sees your soul untouched by bitterness. A part of her wants what you have, but knows she can never reach it. Because she's chosen to live from fear. You, on the other hand, chose light. But the price of that light, it's that you've been surrounded by shadows. Not because you attract bad people, but because your frequency is so high, it unsettles the ones who have long abandoned their own truth. So what do? They plant seeds of doubt. They disguise envy as advice. They monitor your every move, not to protect you, but to study the cracks in your self-esteem. And the moment you show joy, confidence, or inner peace, they find a way to shake it. Gently, quietly, ruthlessly. This is why you're tired without reason. Why you wake up feeling like you fought a battle in your sleep. Why your home doesn't always feel like home. Because energy doesn't lie. And there is a thread in your family line that carries more than just blood. It carries karmic fear, unhealed wounds, patterns of control passed down like heirlooms, wrapped in tradition, guilt, and silence. But you were born to break that cycle. And to break it, you must first see it. Name it. Acknowledge that what you felt was never too much. It was never overreacting. It was sacred perception. It was truth without proof. It was your soul defending your light before your mind could catch up. That woman may be a sister, an aunt, a mother, or even a grandmother. But her role doesn't excuse her energy. And while you can hold space for her pain, you are no longer required to carry it. The truth is, your presence alone confronts her deepest fear, because you are the version of herself she abandoned long ago, the part that still believes in love, the part that still hopes, the part that didn't give in to bitterness. So yes, she envies you, but more than that, she doesn't understand you. She can't, because you were born with a mission she never accepted for herself. And instead of healing with you, she's chosen to hold on to control. But you, dear Cancer, you're done holding your breath. You're done making yourself small, just to keep others from feeling insecure. And now, the same intuition that's always protected you is rising not as a whisper, but as a force. What you feel is not a phase. It's not drama. It's not paranoia. It's the sacred alarm bell of your soul. And it's time you listened. There's something inside you that's waking up. Not suddenly. Not with lightning and thunder. But gently, like the first breath after crying. Like the warmth that returns to your fingers after being cold for too long. It's subtle, but it's real. And it's coming from the deepest part of your soul. That part of you that's been quiet for years. Watching, waiting, enduring. Your intuition, that sacred compass, the gift you were born with, it was never there just to protect you. It was given to you to help you see, even in darkness, to help you remember the truth when the world tries to make you forget. Your intuition is not paranoia. It's not overthinking. It's not being too sensitive. It's your soul's way of saying, I know something here isn't right, and I will not ignore myself again. For too long, you've been told that love is sacrifice, that keeping the peace means staying quiet, that forgiving too quickly makes you kind. But every time you silenced your truth to make others comfortable, you left a piece of yourself behind. You didn't realize it back then. You thought you were doing the right thing, the mature thing, the good child thing. But now, you're beginning to feel it, aren't you? That growing ache in your chest? That silent scream in your gut every time you smile through something that breaks your spirit? That's your soul saying, no more. Because every time you forgave too fast, you told yourself their comfort mattered more than your pain. Every time you endured in silence, you whispered to your inner child, you don't deserve to be heard. And every time you allowed the guilt of others to become your responsibility, you dimmed a little more of your own light. But you were never weak. No, you were surviving. In a world that punished truth, in a home where love came with conditions, where affection was measured, where silence was safety and compliance was love. You didn't grow up in freedom. You grew up in control disguised as care. That's why you felt like you had to earn love, perform for it, prove yourself for it. And why now, when someone offers you something real, something safe, you hesitate, you question it, because your nervous system was trained to believe that calm is dangerous. That kindness comes with a price. That being seen means being used, but that is the lie. And you are finally seeing through it. You're beginning to understand. The way they treated you wasn't love. It was power, emotional power, control disguised as concern. And the only reason you didn't see it sooner was because you were too busy surviving it. But something has changed. Now, when someone gaslights you, you don't shrink. You go silent, not out of fear, but out of awareness. Now, when you feel that familiar tug of guilt trying to pull you back into an old pattern, you pause, you breathe, you remember. You remember that your intuition is sacred, that it's not there to please people. It's there to protect your peace. And peace is not negotiable anymore. Do you know how powerful that is? To finally say, I don't need proof. I trust how I feel. That is spiritual maturity. That is emotional sovereignty. That is you, becoming who you were meant to be before the world told you to be small. And now, that inner light, that sacred flame they tried to smother, is burning again. Not wildly, not recklessly, but steadily, warmly, unapologetically. Because what they don't know is this: every time you were quiet, you were listening. Every time you were hurt, you were learning. Every time you forgave, you were freeing yourself. And now, you are no longer afraid to see, to feel, to know. You've crossed a sacred threshold. And there's no going back. Because once the soul remembers who it is, no amount of guilt can make it shrink again. You don't need revenge. Let that sink in for a moment, dear Cancer. You don't need to prove anything. You don't need to expose anyone. You don't need to gather witnesses or make your pain louder so the world can finally hear it. Because real light doesn't scream. Real light doesn't chase shadows. Real light simply shines. And by doing so, it reveals everything. The moment you awaken to your truth, you become untouchable in a way that no wall, no shield, no strategy ever could make you. Not because you fight, but because you no longer flinch. They will try. Oh yes, the ones who once pulled your strings like a puppet will test your silence. They'll provoke you with passive-aggressive glances, with carefully crafted questions masked as concern, with sudden acts of kindness that feel more like traps than love. But when you do not react, when you stand there, rooted in your truth, steady in your soul, something happens. Their power dissolves. Because emotional control only thrives in one condition: your confusion. And now, you are no longer confused. You see it clearly. You feel the energy shift when they enter the room. You no longer second-guess your instincts. You no longer replay the conversation 10 times, wondering if you were too sensitive. Because now, you understand that your sensitivity is your compass, not your curse. And here's what they don't expect. When you no longer seek revenge, when you no longer try to prove they hurt you, that's when the universe begins its quiet work. Karma doesn't come with thunder. It comes in silence, in subtle unravelings, in the weight of guilt pressing down on the very ones who once smiled, while planting seeds of doubt in your mind. It comes as sleepless nights, as relationships around them quietly collapsing, as the facade they've carefully built begins to show cracks. Because this is the law of energy. What you send out returns. Always. And those who send poison eventually drink from their own cup. But listen carefully. This is not about punishment. The universe is not cruel. It is precise. It doesn't seek revenge. It seeks balance. It simply gives each soul what it needs to awaken. And sometimes, what awakens a soul is the weight of its own actions echoing back. So no, dear one, you don't need to retaliate. You don't need to wish them harm. You don't need to waste one more tear on, why did they do this to me? You only need to understand this one sacred truth. It was never your fault. Let that truth enter every part of your being. Say it slowly, out loud. It was never my fault, because they'll never admit it. They'll twist the story. They'll make you look unstable, overly emotional, or distant. They'll wear the mask longer than they should, hoping you'll doubt yourself again. But you won't, because this time, you're no longer trying to win the game. You've walked off the field entirely. And that, beloved Cancer, is what truly shakes them. Not your silence, not your distance, but your peace. Your peace is a mirror, and it shows them everything they've been running from. When you no longer react, when you no longer explain yourself, when you no longer try to be understood suddenly, they're left alone with the truth they've buried under years of blame. And that's when the unraveling begins. Because people don't lose power when you fight them. They lose power when you no longer need them to understand you. That is the moment your light becomes sovereign. And the light that is sovereign doesn't burn to prove itself. It simply glows. Consistently. Silently. Purely. So no, You don't need to get even. You only need to rise. And you've already begun. You've always known. You couldn't explain it, not even to yourself. But there was always something, an echo in the air before someone spoke, a wave of unease before something went wrong, a heaviness in your chest when a truth was being hidden. As a child, you felt it strongest. You would walk into a room and your whole body would tense before a single word was said. You didn't understand why your heart beat faster around certain people, why their energy made you tired, why your dreams were filled with strange symbols and tears you never cried in waking life. They told you you were too sensitive, too dramatic, too much. And so, like many gentle souls, you began to quiet your voice, but your soul never stopped whispering. That whisper is your direct line to the universe. That soft nudge, that sudden chill, that moment when your heart says, something isn't right. That is not fear. That is your sacred inner compass. That is direct knowing without evidence. A truth that lives in your bones. And now, it's time to remember it. Not just listen to it, but live by it. Your intuition is not a backup plan. It is the first language your soul ever spoke. You are not like others. You never were. You weren't born to fit into systems built on logic and control. You were born to feel what others suppress, to see what others deny, to walk into a room and sense every unspoken pain, and carry it like a secret prayer in your chest. It's exhausting sometimes, isn't it? Carrying so much feeling, so much knowing, and having no one to say it to. But there's a reason you feel so deeply. There's a reason the universe entrusted you with this kind of heart. You are the one who keeps softness alive in a world growing harder by the day. You are the soul who refuses to go numb. The one who still sees light in others, even when they've forgotten how to shine. And because of that, no one can truly manipulate you. They may have tried, with guilt, with pressure, with silence, with loving concern that only served to clip your wings. But deep down, even in your quietest moments of doubt, something inside you always knew. This is not love. This is control, dressed in care. And you were right. You cannot be tamed by darkness. Because you were never built to fear it. You were built to illuminate it. You weren't created to be a reflection of others' wounds. You were born to be a mirror of truth, a witness of light, a vessel of healing. Even when you doubt your own strength, your energy speaks louder than your words. You soothe without trying. You hold space without realizing. You restore balance simply by being. That is why people come to you with their pain, even if they never offer their gratitude. That is why some resent you without reason, because your peace triggers what they have abandoned within themselves. But now, your time of hiding is over. This is not the season for shrinking. This is the season of remembrance. You are not just intuitive. You are called. You are not just sensitive. You are chosen. And being chosen doesn't mean life gets easier. It means your life becomes sacred. Every heartbreak, every betrayal, every lonely night, it all carved the space inside you to carry something vast, something divine, something ancient. Something only you were meant to share. So no, dear Cancer, you are not broken. You are becoming. You are not weak. You are woven from water and stardust and prayers spoken in lifetimes you no longer remember. And the pain you've survived, that was the fire that unlocked your vision. Now, you don't just see the world, you feel its frequency. You read hearts the way others read books. You hear the truth in silence. You smell the lie before it's spoken. And that is no accident. That is legacy. That is lineage. That is the blood memory of the healers who came before you, the light carriers, the dream keepers. That is why, no matter how many times you've been pushed down, you rise differently, because you are not rising alone. You are rising with every spirit who has ever whispered through your dreams. You are rising with every ancestor who lit a candle before you were born. You are rising because you finally remember, this world doesn't need more logic. It needs more souls like you. And the moment you accept that your knowing is not a burden but a beacon, that is the moment the universe begins to show you just how many others have been waiting for your light to come back online. Sometimes the universe doesn't test you with chaos. It tests you with quiet. A familiar name that suddenly lights up your phone screen. A song that once meant everything, now echoing through a cafe you didn't plan to visit. A dream so vivid, you wake up breathless, clutching your chest like you just lived a memory instead of sleeping through it. It's not random. It's never random. Because when a soul like yours begins to awaken when your intuition is no longer asleep, when your energy starts aligning with truth instead of trauma, the past senses it. And sometimes, the past knocks one last time, not to be welcomed, but to see if you've truly moved on. It doesn't always come in the form of a dramatic return. Sometimes, it whispers. It pretends to be harmless. It shows up with soft eyes and a softer voice, wearing the scent of nostalgia like a mask. They say they've changed. They miss you. They realize what they lost. And for a moment, your heart forgets the reasons it broke. It remembers the warmth, the laughter, the nights you swore the stars were watching over your love. But my dear, this moment is not about love. It's about liberation. This is not a test to see whether you still love them. It's a sacred test to see whether you finally love yourself enough to say no. No to confusion. No to the games. No to being the only one who carried the weight. No to betraying your peace for the illusion of comfort. Because forgiveness, yes, is healing. But self-respect is freedom. And you can forgive someone completely, yet still choose never to let them touch your soul again. You see, they may have changed. People do. But not everyone who changes is meant to come back into your sacred space. Some people are only meant to be part of your becoming, not your becoming whole. And maybe this time, you won't answer right away. Maybe this time you'll pause and realize your silence is your power. Maybe this time you'll reread that message, not with longing, but with clarity, with the calm knowing of someone who no longer lives from the wound, but from the wisdom it gave them. Because something inside you has shifted. Haven't you felt it? That subtle, yet undeniable power in your chest. The way your boundaries feel less like walls and more like truth. The way you're no longer afraid of walking alone. Because solitude has become sacred, not scary. That's what this moment is about. It's not about rekindling a fire that once burned you. It's about closing the last door so the universe can finally open the one meant for you. And here's the secret not everyone knows. That door? The new one? The one holding the love, peace, and abundance you've been praying for? It can't open while your hands are still clinging to what almost destroyed you. So this is not just about a person. It's about a pattern, a cycle you've outgrown, a version of you that believed you had to hurt to be held, that love meant endurance, not ease, that relationships were supposed to be about survival instead of soul alignment. But now, your soul is speaking louder than ever. It's saying, no more pretending, no more shrinking, no more returning to places where you had to beg to be seen. You are not that version of yourself anymore. You don't chase. You don't beg. You don't explain. Because love that is real won't require you to lose yourself to keep it. So if they come back, and they will, don't fear the feeling that rises in your chest. Don't shame yourself if your heart flutters for a second. That's not weakness. That's memory. It doesn't mean you're slipping backward. It means you're being given the chance to finally choose you. And when you do, when you say, I forgive you, but I choose peace over history, when you whisper, I still love what we had, but I love who I am now more, When you finally walk away, not in anger, but in alignment, that's the moment your soul exhales. That's the moment you hear the click of a door closing behind you. Softly, but finally, that's the exact moment the universe begins, preparing a different kind of love, the one that doesn't test you, but treasures you. When you finally close the door that once drained your light, something miraculous happens. You hear silence, not loneliness. You feel space, not emptiness. You breathe differently. And in that sacred stillness, when your heart is no longer reaching backward, the universe begins its quiet work. Not with thunder, not with explosions, but with soft shifts, gentle alignments, a breeze where the air once felt stale, an invitation when you thought all doors were closed. And then, without drama, without neediness, a new kind of love begins to form. It doesn't rush in, it doesn't knock you over. It arrives with calm presence, a kind gaze, a feeling of home, even when you've only just met. This love doesn't come to rescue you because you've already saved yourself. It comes to witness your becoming, to grow beside you, not to fill a void, but to honor the wholeness you've built in your own solitude. And it's not just love. Opportunities begin to show up too. The kind you once begged for in prayers, whispered between tears, now find you effortlessly. A message, a connection, an idea you had long ago that suddenly resurfaces with new life. Money that once felt like a battle begins to flow, not like a storm, but like a steady stream. Not too much, not too little, but just enough to support your truth, because you're no longer chasing from lack. You're attracting from alignment. And here's the secret most people overlook. The moment you begin choosing peace over patterns, your frequency changes. You stop vibrating at the level of survival and start attracting from the energy of sovereignty. You begin to embody the version of you who is no longer seeking, but receiving. Not because you're perfect, but because you're honest. And the universe always rewards energetic honesty. So how do you know if something is meant for you now? It's simple. It makes you feel peaceful. No anxiety, no guessing, no overthinking, just peace. A text from someone new, and your body doesn't tense. A job offer and your chest expands instead of tightens. An idea, and you feel energized, not exhausted. This is your new compass. Not excitement, not fantasy, but peace. Because peace is not passive. Peace is powerful. It is the language your soul speaks when you're finally back in resonance with your true self. So if something makes you feel safe, calm, clear, that's your sign. You don't have to force it. You don't have to beg for it. What's meant for you will never require you to abandon yourself to receive it. And the best part? This chapter isn't about proving anything to anyone anymore. You're not here to convince, to explain, to perform. You are here to receive what has been trying to reach you all along, but could only arrive when you made space for it. So breathe. Feel that softness returning to your life. The conversations that don't drain you. The people who speak to your soul, not your ego. The places that feel like poetry instead of pressure. This is the garden you've been unknowingly tending all along. And now, as the seasons shift, it's blooming not because you fought harder, but because you let go. Let this be your reminder. When you choose yourself, the universe chooses you back. And everything that comes after that feels like a divine yes. You might think it's just a coincidence, the same number showing up again and again on your clock. A stranger holding your gaze just a little too long. A dream that repeats with eerie precision. Water overflowing, endless hallways, locked doors, and keys you never seem to find. But let me tell you this. Nothing is random when your soul starts remembering who it island. Every symbol, every whisper from the universe is a signal. A breadcrumb left on your path by something ancient and kind. And you, dear soul, are not lost. You are awakening. Maybe you've always noticed things others ignore. Maybe you've felt things no one said. You've always carried the weight of invisible emotions. You've always known without knowing how you know that someone is hurting even when they're smiling. That something is wrong even when everything looks perfect on the surface. That is your gift. That is the light you were born with. And now, it's not just flickering anymore, it's shining. You don't need to speak loudly. You don't need to convince anyone, because the truth is, when you begin to live in alignment with your essence, when your vibration rises to meet the frequency of truth, peace, and purpose, your energy does the talking. Your presence becomes medicine. Your silence becomes clarity. Your eyes become mirrors. For those still trying to remember who they are, you've become a lighthouse. And like all true lighthouses, you don't chase ships. You stand still and let those lost in the dark find their way back to you. And the most magical part? You might never know how deeply you've helped someone. The person who finally chose to stay because your words made them feel seen. The one who cried for the first time in years because your energy gave them permission to feel. The one who saw your light and remembered they had one too. You weren't meant to blend in. You weren't made to harden just to survive. You were sent here to this world, in this moment, to keep gentleness alive. And so now, the signals will become clearer. The more you align, the more you'll notice. A butterfly landing on your shoulder just when you needed reassurance. Repeating numbers like 111 or 222, whispering, "You're on the right path." A song playing at the exact second your hope begins to fade. Lifting your spirit like a loving hand. Don't ignore these signs anymore. They are real. They are sacred. They are you. Because when you shine not to prove, but simply to be, the right people, the right opportunities, and the right miracles begin to move toward you. Your light becomes a frequency only those who are meant to walk beside you can hear. So don't doubt it. Even on days you feel small. Even on days you forget. The universe never forgets a soul who carries light. And neither do those who've been touched by it. You are not here to be loud. You are here to be true. And that truth, that soft, steady, radiant truth within you, it's the most powerful force this world has ever known. And now, dear soul, take a breath, deeper than the ones before, because something inside you has just shifted. You may not be able to name it yet, but you can feel it, can't you? That quiet knowing, that inner clarity, that flicker of light inside your chest whispering, "Yes, this is who I've always been." You've just walked through a sacred journey, not just through words, but through energy, through remembrance, through truth. And if you've stayed until this very moment, I want you to know that is not a coincidence. It means you're ready to stop shrinking, just to make others comfortable, ready to stop mistaking control for love, ready to stop doubting what your soul has been trying to tell you all along. You are not here to be manipulated. You are not here to be silenced by concern that feels more like poison than care. You are here to rise, to reclaim your softness as power, to let your intuition lead you home. This video wasn't just entertainment. It was a mirror, a map, a spiritual letter written just for you, reminding you of something so simple, yet so often forgotten. You are worthy, not because you prove it, but because you are. You are protected, not by fear, but by light that lives inside your soul. You are chosen, not to suffer, but to awaken others, just by being fully yourself. So what now? Now, you begin again, but not from pain, from peace. You speak your truth, not to convince, but to honor yourself. You walk forward, not with urgency, but with quiet confidence, because now you know the right people, the right love, the right blessings will not require you to abandon yourself to receive them. And yes, those signs you keep seeing, the dreams, the repeating numbers, the synchronicities, they're only going to grow stronger. Because now that you're aligned with your own light, the universe can finally reach you clearly. So, I invite you to write this affirmation in your journal, or better yet, speak it aloud tomorrow morning when the sun touches your window. I no longer have to shrink to be loved. I am light. I am a safe harbor. I allow only what nourishes my soul to stay. And if you feel called, please comment below. I choose light. I trust my intuition. I no longer ask for permission to be loved. Let that be your soul's declaration, not just to yourself, but to others who need to hear it. If this message touched something in you, if you've ever been emotionally manipulated by someone who wore the mask of family or concern, hit like to honor the moment you finally saw through it. And please, subscribe, because this is just the beginning. Every video on this channel is a spiritual letter written for souls like yours. And I promise there's more coming. Deeper truths, sacred rituals, cosmic guidance, just waiting to meet you at the perfect time. And if you'd like to support this message, if this video felt like a safe space in a noisy world, consider sending a super thanks. Your support helps us continue spreading hope, healing, and love to souls across the world who need it most. Now, before we say goodbye, tell me, what kind of content would you love to see next? Are there topics you want us to dive deeper into? Stories, signs, rituals, zodiac truths? I read every comment, and your voice shapes this space. This is your channel as much as it is mine. And if there's one thing I want you to take with you after today, it's this. You are not too sensitive. You are not asking for too much. You are not broken. You are a radiant, intuitive, powerful soul who was simply waiting for the right moment to remember. And this was that moment. So go gently, dear one. Walk with your heart open. You deserve love, not confusion. You deserve prosperity, not survival. You deserve a life that feels like truth, not performance. Until next time, may your light continue to grow, your path stay clear, and your soul always remember where it came from. With all my love, see you in the next video.